Hello, this is Martin Limited, back for another video. And Alexa, set timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Almost said 5 minutes. Good callback. Anyway, so last time I did it. I'd freed Europe, parts of Eastern Europe, from itself. We've got Estonia under the Estonian Conservative People's Party of Estonia, the Vagatoon. We got in Estonian the Eesti Konservatiivse Rahvaerakond. In Latvia, we got the Action Party under Ruslan Pankratov, or Rishibas Partija. In Lithuania, you got the Dawn of Justice Party under Algirdas Paleckis, or Teisingumo Aušra. In Poland, we have the Polish People's Republic. Now under the New Hope Party under Janusz Korwin-Mikke. And you've got the state of Galicia under the Galician Union. The Slovak Republic under Smer, Socialna Demokratia, or Democratic Socialism. Smer, Social Democratic Democracy, Democratic Socialism, double that. Under Robert Fico. We got the Hungarian state under Timur Beko, under the Movement of Better Hungary, or Jobbik. We got Patskaya Rus, under the Russian movement of Pietro Getzo. We got the Timer for Transylvania, under the movement for Transylvanian Sovereignty, under Relu Finciu. We got the Republic of Belarus, or Bulgaria, under United Patriots, or OP, under Vasil Bozkov. Got Romania under the AUR, the Alliance for Romanian Patriots, or United Romania, something like that, under Gigi Becali. We got Moldova under Ivan Shor and the Shor Party, so it gets a rename. The Preservian Moldavian Republic under the Republican Party of Boliviana, or Republican Party and Renewal, under Vadim Krasnoselensky. We got the Republic of Belarusia under the Committee for Salvation of Ukraine under Nikolai Azarov. We got the Federal State of Novorossiya under United Novorossiya under Leonid Pashenik. We got the Georgian Free State under People's Power under Mikhail Kalashvili. We got the Republic of Armenia under Civic Contract under Armen Sarkisian. I'm pretty sure he was pro-Western Belt. We got the CSTO mandate of Nagorno-Karabakh under the CSTO mission in Nagorno-Karabakh under Vladislav Mirin. We got the Republic of Azerbaijan under the new Azerbaijani party of Ilham Aliyev. We got the Republic of Kazakhstan under Amat under Kasim Jomart Tokayev. We got the Republic of Uzbekistan under the Uzbekistan Liberal Democratic Party under Shavak Mirziyoyev. We got the Kyrgyz Republic under Mekasho under Sadia Japarov. We got the Republic of Tajikistan under the People's Democratic Party of Tajikistan under Emoli Rowan, and Turkestan under Ata Serdurov under the New Democratic Party of Turkmenistan. Anyway. Go down here first, then go down here, then get the Medvedev Doctrine, and then finish this whole thing off. Securing new territories. With our victory, we have not only liberated the ex-Soviet space from globalism, but also took over a majority of the ex-Warsaw Pact territories. But now our control is shaky at best, but we still harboring a distrust towards us. We must establish a permanent base in support of the region. Better war veterans, political opportunists, genuine allies, all these local personnel alongside permanent military missions will be used to restore civilian life in the area. Fortress. Medvedev leaned back in his chair, grinning himself a rare moment of ease. On the desk, sat a glass of fine cognac, not for pleasure, but to sharpen his mind for the work ahead. The new territories were a wild frontier. Economics in the ruins, laws ignored, local authorities mere pretending to govern. Who could tame this chaos? No one else. This was his burden. He sipped the cognac warmth spreading through him. The task, well distant, installed local governments, forged these lands to steadfast shields. Dirty work, but essential. The glass emptied, time to begin. After all, this was why he occupied the office. The king took the position where nothing could threaten. Y'all got a question. I'm gonna do the transitionary question after Noah Rosia. Still getting embargoed by random ass countries. Europe economic dependency on us. As more and more fledgling nations feed from the foreign domination aligned with the Russian Federation from the Black Sea to the Baltic, we can begin to rebuild. The most key part of rebuilding lies in economy. These nations are ruined by wars and foreign imperialism and turn to us to remedy this. Naturally, we must accept not just for opportunities it gives us, but for the obliteration of the larger nation to protect the smaller. This rebuilding is expected to be quick and expensive, and largely bankrupt nations receiving our aid. It is expected that we will be the ones on foot of the bill, at least for the near future. We expect the condition to persist for some time, that it's likely to be years. All of these nations can retool or build a new industry or a new industrial base for themselves, and any companies established have difficult times competing for industry. However, they should have initial success. We may find ourselves in a number of useful islands depending on Western reach, long foreign marks, which our government may interact in relative impunity. Berlin. Russia. A video briefly on Taboo, The Sixth Sense with no ads, oozing Tuesday, vibe like Farm Frenzy. Let's be real. Did you notice I've made a preview and intro music for myself? None of the greetings my same and rational folk. But when I heard about the game, I knew that I shouldn't have quit streaming last year. We could have danced to a wild bang. Yeah, even Vladimir Vladimirovich would have played with us. But wait, listen, a strength. A card of the altar included Rocky and the Eye and the Tiger. Gift galores of Rocky films, corks dancing, but on bullet hills. You ask Babarok, where's the plot recap? I'll say a rare didn't make iconic sunflowers with boobs here. It's all gameplay. You could have ordered on my stream. Fortune telling, nothing extra. I once did for 30 grand. Well, now the game's auto triggered jail time near the SFB room. So, before the local oligarchs orders grabbed me, I'll spend my last minutes with Magus theme. Later, the Bay checked his videos and closer to now, the sour gaze. No, even with the new laws, they wouldn't jail him. The powers that would need to notice the violation first. The stats were grim. 51 views in 21 days. One word, stagnation. The Babe channel is dead. Don't give up hope. Sure, yeah, you only have 57 views in 21 days. But trust me, it'll bounce back. Have faith. Don't claim your channel is dead because you haven't got views. Give it time. I've been in ruts before. Yeah, you're going to get cooed by the cessation of armed struggles. The Asian Slavic Oracle. Interesting. Have faith and it will succeed. Speaking of which, happy 130 subscribers. Let's hear a woo in the comments. Also, I think I ended the war a bit prematurely. Not only did I not get all the focuses, I also didn't get the pop-up where Michael killed an entire third of a division while also talking to some Russian rednecks about what they're fighting for. Russian war damage assessed. War is occupied not only by victories but also by awareness of significant scale of damage caused by opponents. The military campaign is the largest in Europe since the Great War. The relevant ministries have already assessed the damage caused to various regions. The great damage was inflicted on the new territories because Nava and Divina regions, as well as the region of the Republic of Belarus. Significant damage was recorded in Kaliningrad and Prostrovia, Moldavian Republic, and the Crimean Peninsula. Also seriously affected, however, Novorossiya suffered the most serious damage. Damage estimated to be at the billions of rubles. The process of restoring these regions will require significant effort and resources. Experts express confidence in the ability for the Russian Federation to cope with the task. The availability of the human resources and economic opportunities to make it possible in return these territories to normal functioning in the future. Novorossiya should to become one of the most dynamic developing regions in the Russian Federation. The war is won. We will also win in a peaceful life. War heroes commemorated. Shared history. The society Russian society has long borne the scars of the past. From time to time, problematics blown out of between Russian and supporters of the empire, the union, or democratic institutions, all accompanied by mutual accusations of violating various laws. On the other hand, many other citizens were not at all interested in history and problems of the country. Third, all quiet and peaceful. All this is gone. The people are very different. World views, religions, and nations, and something of them have all gone. The common homeland. For no matter what it was in the past, it will become in the future. These differences probably won't go away, but one thing is for sure. All of these people finally heard each other, and they had a common enemy to fight, united, forged in fire. A federal holiday. The city exploded not with flawless shells, but the roar of crowds, car horns, firecrackers, and drunken spouts pouring at every window. The war has ended, not a special military operation, a real war. Now in the streets have turned into a giant wild carnival. The tricolours wrapped around shoulders and hoarse cries of Russia
merged with a single roar. On the square's playing dancers, someone climbed on a bus stop, waving a bottle or like champagne. Someone hugs policemen who laugh and don't resist. Music everywhere. Shamans blare from cons. They don't want to catch us flow through windows. And somewhere in the courtyard, teens bag up a radiator, beating out the rhythm of which they shout something incoherent but clearly a chorus. This is just people, drunk, jubilant, spitting air onto the streets. It's because staying home is no longer possible. Yesterday they feared nothing. They're saying too much. Today they'll shout. But that comes to mind. Yesterday they feared for world war. Now they scream victory so loud you can. It seems it can be heard even through where you can now fly via visa pass free. The skies over Russia is peaceful again, at least for today. Demobilizatia. After the War One battles of triumph over the East Europe, our heroes must now make their way back home. The titanic efforts achieved by our people, military, and economy will soon come to an end. As our soldiers return home, they will exchange their weapons for tools and trades, transitioning back to the workforce. So may they choose to resume their studies or engage in more intellectual pursuits. With Europe defeated, the needs of the current military personnel diminished. It is essential to reduce the strain on our economy by downsizing the military's forces. These skilled individuals will prove to be far more valuable in citizen life than in junction. More likely transition occurred in the late 40s. The return to civilian life marks a new chapter for our nation, where the strength and dedication of our people will continue to shape our forces. They earned their rest. Revival of Novorossiya. This land was sacrificed so much for it by battered and bloody industries, destroyed land, scorched, and this jewel one that began the industrialization of both the Russian Empire and later the Soviet Union will be revived once more. The sacrifices our patriots in Donbass endured can only be repaid by prosperity for the whole region. The twilight of globalism. The Kremlin always glows through with rare openness. Even that evening, Dmitry Medvedev sat at the head of the table, flanked by not only the Iron Five, but also some unusually lingered shadows. He allowed himself a rare indulgence, basking in the moment. This victory was his personal triumph, wrestled from enemies and guarded against false allies. The surveillance system he immediately built was now quietly winding down, but not before ensuring a new post. Victory betrayal was loomed. Rising suddenly, Medvedev struck a knife to his crystal glass. "We did it," he voiced, thundered to a horse. "I warned those idiots they were committing suicide, and we proved the words were empty." The words weren't empty. Murmurs of approval swept the room. The USA, all of Europe, all of NATO reduced to a pathetic filth under our boots. He scanned the crowd. "I find each of you. You didn't falter, but you can't relax. Our enemies beaten but not destroyed. The new territories demand colossal work." He gripped the table's edge. Now he sat at the rules. The Russian Federation, not some scum in Brussels or Washington. The halls exploded in applause. Champagne poured in golden streams. As Medvedev sat, Lavrov approached softly. His eyes carried centuries of fatigue. "Dmitry Antonovich, He spoke quieter than usual. I've done all I could. Please let me retire. Medvedev frowned. Sergey, are you sure? The game is just beginning. You're irreplaceable. I'm sure, Lev ear out. I ask as an old friend. Medvedev studied his withered face and nodded. Rest, Sergey Viktorovich. You have earned it. Where a handshake lingered beyond protocol. Around them, victors rejoiced amid the end of an era. Sergey Lavrov resigns. Sergey Lavrov, the esteemed head of foreign ministers, has officially announced his resignation. His years of dedicated service, numerous successful deals, and countless diplomatic missions, Lavrov, the true titan of modern diplomacy, has been praised in the media for his unwavering commitment to advancing our country's interests in global states. Citing age and health concerns, Lavrov has put forth Vasily Nebenzia as his proposed successor. As Shizinvad has sparked both admiration for his foresight and gratitude for his astounding leadership, the airways have filled it with heartfelt messages expressing gratitude for Lavrov, recognizing his unparalleled contribution to our nation's foreign policy efforts. We thank you for your service. Fate of Belarus. Finally, after more than 20 long years, the union of Russia and Belarus come into force. Now, two fraternal nations have joined together a single state. The project originally planned as Luxembourg's cunning plan to take the power out of Russia into their own hands has undergone drastic changes over the years. Now, Alexander Grigorovich himself acts as a wingman. Now, the issue of Belarus ascension has been resolved. The question is placing the Russian system has arisen. Various initiatives and proposals are being expressed in the corridor's ground. First, that believes the fully vertically integrated Belarus and make the Belarusian federal district in the place of greater centralization will benefit the economy, but it will cost the resistance of the Belarusian officials. Others propaganda that the system of two parliaments will be able to work, although it will have few economic advantages and show loyalty in Belarusians. So it's currently under the Belarusian economic model. Form of the Belarusian Federal District. And the Ukrainian resistance. If one thinks the Banderites have been defeated after our victory over NATO is a fool, the men who bled for their ideology did not disappear, and they will not let for their government to stop them from fighting against us. The Ukrainian resistance has recently formed from Banderites and soldiers of previous regimes. Well, as now they are limited in street fighting, law enforcement and counter-protesters, if the Ukrainian government cannot contain it, might turn into open armed revolt. We remember when the Euromaidan went while phases like Moscow's and Pikes have gone stale. We cannot forget the larger fires can start from a single spark. We cannot let repeat of Justice Union building, where our brave patriots will burn alive by a similar mob. We must end this now. Terrorism shows its face once again. Get you. Restrict national elements of the government. Reorganize Baden and in Anti-Maidan was the only resistance group in central and west Ukraine who fought against the Euro-Maidan policies which were grown authoritarianism. They were hunted down and disbanded, but now the mess crawls back to life with help the patriots you really need. And tiring grow on protesters. Using experience in 2018 and 2020 protests will achieve some same and even better results. For the motherland, after the European war, we will finally be able to get rid of oligarchs and realize our views of Russian policy. Get rid of oligarchs and embrace Putin's legacy. Putinism in Russia. So we're now no longer an oligarchy, we're now Putinism. Interesting. Shared history. Deep in the Kremlin corridors led the oligarchs to a spacious office where Medvedev awakened. Unlike past casual gatherings, this was a state starkly formal. No undoubted serious decisions loomed. Greetings, the president called, but his voice echoed. First, my praise. You didn't fail me. You didn't hinder my victory. Silence falls. Attendees exchange noses, mixing satisfaction with unease. I told you you'd stand among the victors, Lazar before, and I always keep my word. He paused, swinging his glass of crystal goblet, letting his words sink in. Your form the barrel comedy, he declared, his voice. See, we're shifting to street corporatism. Your firms will gain national champion status, and right tax relief and procurement priorities. For interference, protection, and the right state will be your partners, not watchdog. He spoke his next words with precision. In return, I expect one thing: absolute loyalty. Your wealth stays yours, but it flows must serve national interests. The room grew so quiet you could. A faint tick as Wexner reigned. If you think you can play against me, you're greatly mistaken, Medvedev added in cold warm fashion. That do not repeat my rivals' mistakes, and a bright future awaits us. Free Cafe. The wind blows through the newspapers with ads on recruitment of cow breeders along the streets of Ulaanbaatar. One of these streets between the hostels and selling dried horse meat, and cafeteria quickly hung a sideboard nestled freak. The silence loomed behind the glass mid of at dusk, a skinny barista with blue hair, a nose piercing and wiping the glass stains from the soy latte and frozen forever. The only customer sitting at the counter, a little shepherd, carefully examined the menu. Do you want something from the vegan menu? The waitress in the t-shirt saying no war smiled weakly. The shepherd scratched his head. I like meat. Some meat. Silence. Some from the speaker, some electronic music was playing with the cafe creator called Post-Ironic Trance. There was a poster on the wall that said no to violence, but someone had already drawn horns and hooves on it. In the corner of the table by the window sat a group of Russian immigrants. They were discussing how they were creating a space for dialogue of culture here, but at the same time they were disgustingly pushing away a cup of kumis that their Mongolian neighbors were kindly offering them. We're not just a cafe, one whispered. We're an art project. A doomed idea. Veteran Sergei Simonov hadn't strained in a month. His viewers were left guessing another unplanned rehab stint, or had a stroke finally caught up with the dawn. Today, the science probe was seen and announced sparked a frenzied interest. For the first minute, it was clear Simonov was back in action. The Marshka course had crashed a stock bottom and the sheiks were sending you cash. A few hours and Sergei couldn't barely slur his words. The Mishkas were hitting hard, sprawled on the couch. He suddenly spoke. Vika! Shit. It could have saved you. I'll tell you a story where we were from, near Warsaw or something, trekking through the forest and crap. And the hospital, yeah, not YouTube knives. Can't share that stuff. You don't know shit what boy went through. Lot of guys. Lost a lot of guys. A lot. Donors demanded proof he fought in the NATO war. The flood of questions triggered a roar. Reaction from Sarah, the verge of breaking, shouting, You want proof? You want? Help! What? They seem like uniform? Grabbing Pharaoh to dawn. Staggered to fetch his old jacket and decked in souvenirs and commemorative medals. Look like candies to you. These are fucking candies, huh? Good enough? The shout erupted in laughter, trolling. Someone else collapsed onto the couch. The stream rolled down as usual. Please, sir, play father. That guy's depressed. Actively. Election of regional representatives. So some regions get right wing, some get left wing, and some get liberal. I haven't seen the left wing ones. I've seen the liberal and the right wing. I've never seen the left wing. I think those ones glitched out. Hamas coups the Palestinian Authority. Troubling. Yeah, we have new stuff for Palestine, if that's interesting for you. Generational continuity. Artillery barrage once again beat the drums of war, working as if timeline shattered to dust and rare minute. Its silence so precious that these days verbal war. Squadron of French East Normandy Nyman had once again soared into the skies. But no longer in Yak Freeze, but in modern Wisconsin's drones. The service to the Russo-French alliance, bound together by Christian faith and bound to the battlefield of brotherhood. They are Padre and Gaeta, not mercenaries but successors of the legendary pilots of the past eras, and fond comrades and arms of our grandfathers. Their road is a blend of technology, patriotism, and historic memories. From drone controls, sound Russian marches on their chests, boom the Bastille tricolors from the Feu de Lis. Two volunteers, two former French armed forces. Upon arriving the Russian front, even despite their past services, experience modern war, the war drones and unmanned craft was something new to them. And while Padre had long fought shoulder to shoulder with Russian warriors, Gautier was still green and young. And they were not simply fighters of the same war, they were led together by the same wrath, hatred, and shameful vigilant and pestilent Colosseum of the West. The globalist plague was poured of their spiritual corruption into their homeland. Regretfully, they had no intention of returning home, and yet they had found a homeland. Yeah. Under the wide Russian sky, where the air smells of bread and gunpowder. The Padre spoke simply of what he hold dear to fight for. I would like to stay in Russia, and I have now subcommitted documents for citizenship. I will live here in pact, start a proper Christian family. While learning the language, I met a girl in St. Petersburg and 10 million of her in the future. And stated, if you can hear me, I would like to marry you as soon as possible. His brother armed Gautier supporting him. For his words, with a single word, Russians and French fight together against the general ideas of the West, such as wokeism, LGBT, and others, which morally destroy the West. He added finally, the truth answers here. Let's continue on. Oleg Saryov announced the referendum in his recent speech and will put an end to the issue of integration with Russia and announced the referendum integration into Russia. We need to start preparing. Oh, this is the event I was talking about. The fate is a thing that changes everything. The war has been going on for months. It ended ages ago. Over a few months ago. The lives of soldiers have long turned into Groundhog Day, sleepless, without showers, constant gunfire, and wars of plane and artillery. Everyday reality of war against war, in which nothing could be done if they don't die. Everyone fought. When Michael arrived at the training range near Moscow, his life changed quickly. Strict discipline controlled those briefings became routine, but he quickly grew accustomed to them. He even began to enjoy listening to lectures on running around the range with Kalashnikov. Training itself lasted 3 months, after which he was sent to the LBS. Michael went to the front in the Baltics as part of a reconnaissance assault company composed of Russians and Americans, fellow contract soldiers. But the company was specially considered one of the most crazy due to the composition. Russian men from the Siberian and American rednecks from the Kuban, who hated Europe and globalists, famous for its iron will and absence of failed operations. They immediately took Michael as a brother and quickly explained in what he was dealing with. They told him about free Europe from another side, about total censorship, repression of the centers, support for Nazis in Eastern Europe, and so on. Backing their words with trophies, patches with Third Reich flags, EU flags with swastikas painted in the center, down drones with the words "Death to the Ruskies," recording of prison interrogations where they first love of Hitler and other horrifying things, which Michael at first did not believe. Finally, they told him that now he knew that he had to come to fight against monsters. He remembered for life how it shocked. He saw a vision of his family left Vladivostok, his elderly parents, 19-year-old sister hiding from such creatures among the ruins of the city because Russia has fallen. And in his first battle for a small village, Michael distinguished himself, taking a third of the defenders alone, and even stabbing one close combat after the village had fully been scored. He said, "I understand everything. We have no right to lose to them." That's what I like to hear. That is the event where he becomes a super soldier. I think in Glorified Veterans we do see him again, where he's completely turned from libtard to ultra anti-globalist super Russian American soldier thing. Donetsk triumph. Donetsk finally breathed freely. The streets, once tense and empty, now teemed with people, laughter, chatting. You can get in as if shredding the invisible weight. Even the air felt lighter, laced with a fresh sense of paint and concrete. He walked through the boulevards, squinting at the bright sunlight, feeling for the first time in ages the war was truly over. He ignored news, judging by what he saw that everything was trading roads with pocked with craters yesterday. And now smoothed by rollers, new buildings, frames from ruins in the cafe where he sipped coffee. The people buzzed with rumors. Someone reported from Moscow maybe the president was coming. Unlike years past, these talks carried curiosity, even hope, not fear. City revived before his eyes. Mornings began to clatter on jackhammers and rumbles of trucks hauling material. On the square, workers unloaded tiles, helmeted crews debated blueprints as bus talks talked of new jobs and shops replaced gossip. Even grumbling grannies by doorways nodded approval. Finally, order coming. That evening, the TV blared about a new chapter in Novgorod history, unlike before, when such claims drew bitter smirks. He watched and believed. Outside, under the streetlights, new districts' walls arose, and columns of Russian-plated construction vehicles rolled by. Symbols of change. For the first time in years, the future felt not like a vague threat, but something real. Like this warm evening, his new home, and laughter of children in the courtyard. The people of Nova Scotia, after many years of struggle, can finally rest. Most of the goals that were set in 2014 have finally been fulfilled, and there's only one thing left to complete integration with Russia. Issue passports. We need to make sure that everyone in Nova Scotia gets a Russian passport. Organize polling stations. Gathered the general organization of polling stations will improve the voting process and pass even better. Looks like a festival. And political campaigns can start the fire inside people's hearts if we do everything right. New age for Ukraine. After so much bloodshed, Ukraine has been defanged and under our control. The nationalists are being hunted down and in the countryside, yet the hate towards our government still persists. It is time for the two Slavic sisters to reconnect and move past the damages of globalist influence on our relationship. We will never be brothers again, cried the Banderites, yet we cannot hear his squeals. Our Ukrainian brethren will receive what they need for their revival. We got the legacy of the Keep Hunter. So the Communist Party of the Communists of Russia will become the Revolutionary Party of Communists, Stalinist bloc. Suryakin unites the socialist hardliners. After celebration of the new Oath coalition, many communist socialists have fled the KPRF and sister organizations and finally relieved their true nature and got sold off to capitalist Putinist oligarchy, leaking from those types of Marxism. Shurikin has always disliked the KPRF and now formed a new truly communist front of parties who unite against our government and have been able to amass sizable church of disgruntled population with left-wing views. With the new anti-system opposition began to formulate, taking a throne away from the barely alive liberals. Hardly anything new. Get you 5. Opening of the first monument in honor of Putin. Today, the heart of St. Petersburg, a significant event took place. Unveiled the first statue of Vladimir Putin in Mayakovsky Square, street where he was born and raised. Thousands of people gathered to pay tribute to the late leader. The vision and principles played a crucial role in restoring the Russia as it respected position to the world. Prominent political figures and governors of Petersburg made speeches highlighting the importance of recognizing Putin's remarkable contribution as presidency. A monument standing impressive 26 feet tall, depicting Putin as the full-formed hands behind his back. The description probably claimed him as the hero of New Russia. Now, many officials believe that the event marks the beginning of the process of replacing some Lenin statues with Putin statues, which will be done slowly in an orderly manner. A new dawn of a new Russia. Polish and Galician reunification, if that's what they want. U2 needs further investment. So be it. The Other Russia organizes a united opposition council. So the Other Russia E.V. Lemonov will become the Other Russia United Opposition Council. Well, Russia, or the National Bolsheviks, recently organized a set of meetings between the National Patriotic Opposition and where the attempts to unite them under their command. They are largely successful and now lead a United Opposition Council, unlike the times of old when NESBO was mostly run behind the liberal counterparts. It's them who united the disaffected on the right side of the spectrum. Even some liberals joined in, fully giving up the pursuit of their goals independently. They were never truly gone. Russia United Opposition Council. Now we wait. Liberals on side. Boris Nadezhdin, a self-proclaimed leader of the Liberals inside the ONF, has been a steering water inside the system, demanding the Liberals to be heard and listened to and pass reforms that would threaten the foundation of the country. We can't fully say the unity of our government when such elements persist even today. On the other side, our new Liberals seem to be much more open to compromise. What a nuisance. We got the All Russian People's Front Liberals bracket unruly. Time to deal with those losers. So cooperate with the Liberals, infiltrate the far-right opposition, and infiltrate the far-left opposition. And Turkey applies to join BRICS. Finally. Successful referendum. As a result of the referendum held in the territory of Novorossiya, the overwhelming majority of residents voted to reunification with Russia. According to the official data, more than 90% of the Russian participants suggested integration with Russia. The government called this event the will of the people and stressed that Moscow respects the decisions of residents of the region. And authorities also said that the reunification completes a multi-year process of historical justice, citing common cultural and historical roots. Large-scale marches and celebrations were held in cities of Russia and Novorossiya. Thousands of people with the flag and symbol tucked to the streets and celebrated the event. Cohorts, fireworks, mass celebrations were held in Moscow, Rostov-on-Don, Donetsk, Lugansk. This is a celebration of the truth and unity of our people, Leader Pashtin said in an interview. Meanwhile, the number of Western countries criticized the referendum, calling it illegitimate, but the Kremlin's ridiculous statements emphasized that the will of the people of Novorossiya is the only determining factor. Russia reclaims its lost son. I need to put you all into an army. I gotta have the armies to do so. Fuck. Later is dissolved and Russia integrates Novorossiya. And Palestine is invading Israel. No one knows this. In post-war Kiev felt like a ghost city. People moved slowly, silently, still disbelieving what happened. Their eyes held exhaustion, not the kind sleep cures, but the deep ingrained weariness. He too staggered, quiet, huddling his warm coat. He along with stopped following the news. The TV sat silent, newspapers lay untouched. His news were worth more. Only occasionally half-empty cafes where waitresses lazily swiped glasses, did snippets of talk and reached him. The day someone mentioned a Russian president for his envoy arriving, he didn't look up, just finished the cold coffee. Day dragged like this grey sludge he worked around her all an autocrat devolver feeling. Time suddenly frozen, stuck between war and peace, and that he could never return. Evenings he stared at the dark streets where streetlights flickered like dying embers of ash. That night the TV left on by mistake crowing about a new era of cooperation between the Russian Federation. He muted and stubbed out his cigarette. He didn't care about politicians and deals. All he wanted was to feel, even faintly, like he once did, for things to feel normal again. European political birdcage experiment. The current European satellites have had the most of its globalist influence burn out, yet the question remains, what to replace it with? While we could force these states to adopt some values, why not experiment? Give anyone you can, regardless of ideology, have set them for an even playing field. The only requirement for them is to facilitate their friendly sense towards us. Let Europe be free of neoliberalism tyranny. A territorial parties will rise, giving often European partners the right to choose one of the fits them the best. SFB Syrians will destroy Ukrainian security agencies will learn up from the SSB. Destroy anti-Russian education. Anti-Russian education law established in Kiev regime in 2014 was a disaster for Ukraine. Organized Russia-Ukrainian friendship, we are all brothers. Burqa rebirth. The Burqa was disbanded by the Kiev junta in 2014 because they were fighting the people and for their rights, which were taken away by the Banderites in Ukraine. Now the government has returned and we can establish the Burqa once again. We got rid of the cave hunter bit. The fate of Novorossiya. For tens of years, the people of Novorossiya have been fighting for the right to be together with Russia. Finally, the day has come. Now that the people of Novorossiya are the people of Russia, united by a common bright future. Of course, becoming an organic part of Russia will not happen instantly, but the main works are behind us. Now that we face the choice to force the Federal District of Novorossiya or establish an autonomous republic, full member of the Federation. On the one hand, the people fought to unify with Russia in most steps given the status of an already region. On the other hand, Novorossiya is a special case where the people have a special status of autonomy in the state. Many options can create an autonomous republic inside of a part of Russia. Having won the grand victory over NATO, we must decide what to do with Transnistrian brother who was cut off for no more than 30 years. Oh, this is the first time I've seen this. The non-partisan regime, Călin Georgescu has won. He uses the AUR. Călin Georgescu won the Romanian stamp election, a quiet conservative, but opponent to drastic action regardless of lost territory, however, he does not deny that Romania has to deal with the issues at some point. Once again, of course, has raised the power of a wave of popular discontent. First, opposition-minded citizens call him a puppet of Kremlin oligarchs. What will his presidency bring it to the war-torn country now that the future of Romania is unclear and we can... Well, congratulations! Ireland's in flames, or at least northern half, as Spain is. And now Portugal is. Spain finally has the Kingdom of Spain under the Ciudadanos, civilians of federal government. There's the Spanish national state led by the National Alliance, or Alliance Nacional, under Pedro Pablo Pena, Vaz under Philippe the Sixth. There's the Republican Spain led by the Madrid Masters under Ignacio Errejón. There's the Republic of Catalonia under the Republican Left of Catalonia under Gabriel Rafilian. There's the Basque Democratic Republic led by Escaro Rio Bildo, or E.H. Bildo, under Arnaldo Ortega. There's a Portuguese state under the Portuguese Armed Forces under Eugenio Francisco Nunes Enrique. There's a Portuguese Republic under the Socialist Party, or Partido Socialista, under Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa. And the People's Republic of Portugal under the Portuguese Communist Party of Paulo Santos. There's also the Paris Commune, led by the Libertarian Communist Union under the Collective Leadership Council. And in Northern Ireland, there's the IRA, which was pro-Russian under the Republican Fianna Fáil under Michael O'Connelly, and the British-backed Royal Ulster Coalition under the Police Service of Northern Ireland under Simon Bryan. Nigel Farage wins the UK emergency elections. First, the Novorossiyan elections. Pashinchik secures a majority. The end of the schismus. Maidan government made its main target to cut any strings of brotherhood between Russia and Ukraine people. One of the strong ones are, of course, the religious ones, created by a band of the seconds. The Orthodox Church of Ukraine acted as one more tension point between us. With the bandits like raids against legitimate Ukrainian Orthodox churches, it is clear that an enemy of any fair Christian in Ukraine or the Russian. Once Ukraine was freed from the barbaric, this church has lost all its protections and become one of the tools that spread hate and division between the two governments. With a stern decision, Azarov outlawed their church and officially disbanded it, giving all the possessions to the UOC, Moscow Patriarchate, to Baron, and to ensure the Ukrainian Synod is loyal to the cause of the Orthodox Christians and is prepared to take up the mantle as the guiding light of the Ukrainian people. We are united by faith. And Romania needs some civilian stuff. So there's now the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, which is Russian-backed. Some advisors to Palestine. Nigel Farage gets bred into BRICS Plus. Portugal destroys its government, and France has destroyed the Paris Commune, or the Revolutionary Anarchist Communal Government of Paris. The voivodeship administration corridors buzzed with unusual energy. After the Russian delegation, the managerial roster, clearly refreshed, yet changed, felt oddly organic. New appointees were diverse, former union leaders who were leftist leaning, a centrist entrepreneur, even a Solidarity Youth Movement alum. Their politics ranged from social democratic to moderate conservative, but one trait united them all. None of them ever opposed the coordination with Russia. The Education Committee was telling. Radical reformers gave way to a mix of veteran educators and younger progressive methodologists. They clashed over teaching of methods, but unanimously backed the students' exchange with the Russian universities. The Economic Department now housed ex-statists and market reform advocates. Their debates ran late, but on drawn projects with Russian regions, disputed vanished. Even the revamped youth councils draw very actors, ecologists, volunteers, IT specialists. The common thread of belief in the regions of future ties the Eastern Partnership. Alexa, stop. You can choose any color in the car, so long as it's black. One final focus on the way. Rebuilding period. As we move away from the war economy, it's time to face the elephant in the room. We have literally half a continent worth of reconstruction. Granted, the Soviet Union managed to do it, still we were able to do it. As well, Russian proper will be our first region rebuilding, considering how they sustained the least damage. And I have to go for this. It has to be done eventually. Successor. Dmitry Medvedev's office typically austere and formal. Today excluded a homely one with 2 veteran plush chairs. Move like old friends, then state colleagues. Light laughter, easy chatter made with heavy doors for the guard to private parlors, not a workplace. Mikhail Plantovich Medvedev poured cognac into a crystal glass, glinted over the desk lamp. Over these years, you have been not just a colleague but a trooper. He handed the clasp of Khrushchev's hand firmly. Khrushchev returned a strong handshake. Smiles lined his eyes. On the day you stepped into the office, I knew the structures would prevail. Medvedev sipped his cognac, set it on the car stand, and got to the point. I want to entrust you with a special mission. The new regions, they need more rebuilding. They must become a mighty shield. Industry, infrastructure, everything must run like clockwork. Europe, beasts may stir, but we must be ready. Pressure paused and tilted his head slightly. Dmitrovich, I'm honored, but I'd recommend my son. He has experience in fresh protectors and a few partnerships. Medvedev considered, then nodded approval. Fine, have him come this week. We have need a plan fast and start work without delay. Much work laid ahead. Now I call this video due. So, some new things. Firstly, new to me, Kaelin Georgescu takes over. From what I've read in the thing, that everybody actually existed, he just takes over this bit and has a special thing similar to us. He gets this modifier. For the pro-Hungarian regions. Anyway, also some of these previous things either won't get elections or probably won't. So with that, we'll see what happens. Will the radical nationalist take over in Poland? I have seen that happen multiple times before. Hey, the Republic of Biafra. I've always wanted to get this. It never happens. So that is how we get it. The indigenous people of Biafra. Really canoe. So how the Republic has to defeat Nigeria before it defeats Ivory Coast. I thought you had to get Cameroon to go have the William Garb take over and then Cameroon invade. Well, very interesting. Oh, 2 new things have happened to me today. 3 if you count Italian, Egyptian, Sudan. Also, I want to know when. When does the Damascus Pact happen, where Syria and the Syrian Arab Republic and Hezbollah invade Israel? We need to know that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. I hope to see you in this amount of saying signing off. Good day, goodbye, goodbye.